In verse 5, it begins with the genealogy of Adam. In this verse first, it says, Avti e vivlos genesios anthropon e imera epis en otheos ton Adam. This is the book of the Genesios, the Genesis. That's the title of this book. Genesis, it comes from the word Genesios. Of men, anthropon, anthropology. So we have all these English derivatives. They're vivlos for a book, and Genesios, origin, and men. This is the book of the origin. And earlier in 2:4 it had the book of the origin of heaven and earth. But now we have the book of the origin of men. So it's changed. And Moses wrote this at a much later time. It's attributed to him. So we'll continue. And then he made the book of the origin of men, in which day, Epis and Otheos, Theologies 23:16, God made Adam. Kat ikona theou episen afton. According to the icon, the image, the icon is an English derivative. The image of God, he made him. Arson ke theli episen aftus. Male and female, he made them. Ke evlogisen, we had eulogy, it was a derivative. He blessed them. Evlogisen aftus. Ke eponomase to onoma aftu Adam, and he named his name Adam. E imera episen aftus, in which day he made them. The Hebrew is a little bit different. He called their name Adam, and it's kind of, to me, it's on the confusing side. I think the King James says he named them man, and in which day he made them. So you can study this on your own in the Hebrew and then the different English Bibles. But in the Greek, it's he named his name Adam, in which day he made them. As to say they, in verse 3, Adam, triakonta ke diakosia eti. And Adam lived triakonta. The onta is the 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Once you get to the hundreds, then it's osia, diakosia for 2, triakosia, and so forth for 300 eti years. Ke agenese kata tin idean af 2. And he procreated a son according to his shape. He procreated for the male and bore for the female. According to his shape, it says. Man is tied into God differently than the animal kingdom. As far as it says, it's according to his shape. And exactly what this is and how it all appears, I guess we'll have to find out when we get to heaven and find out from the source. And it continues then, Ke kata tin ikona af 2, according to his image, icon. Ke eponoma se to onoma af 2, Seth. So this was the son of Adam, is Seth in English. Verse 5, Egenon to they e imere Adam as ezise metato genise afton ton Seth eti eptakosia. And it came to pass the days of Adam which he lived after his procreating Seth 107 years. The Osia is 100 and Epta 7. Ke again nesen ius ke thigateres. And he procreated sons and thigateres. We have daughters. It's almost similar sounding with the T-A-U-G-A, with the D-A-U-G-H, T-E-R, Tav Epsilon Re. So there's a similarity. Thigateres and daughters. Verse 5, Ke agenonto passe e imere Adam, as ezise triaconta ke anacosia eti, ke apethenen. And it came to pass all the days of Adam which he lived, triaconta, the onta, so it's 30, the tri, 30, and ena is 900 years, and he died. So Adam eventually did die, and he fell from this being that was made in the image of God, perfect in all of his ways, and then he fell, gave into the his wife's coaxing him to eat the fruit of the tree, and the result was death. Later it talks about in the New Testament that through this one person death came into the world, and through the one person, Christ, life will come to the people. 5:6, Ezise they, Seth, pente ke diacosia eti, and Seth lived 500 diacosia, 200 years. Ke agenese ton enos. And 7, Ke ezise Seth, meta togenise afton ton enos, epta eti ke eptacosia. And Seth lived after his procreating Enos 7 years, epta, and eptacosia, so there's a 700, osia. Ke agenesen eus ke thigateres. Verse 8, Ke agenonto passe e imere Seth, dodica, ke anacosia eti, ke apethene. Dodica, 2 and 10. And Ena 9, Cosia the 100 years, and he died. Ke ezisen enos eti ekaton enani konta, and Enos lived 100. Ekaton is 100. A hectare is an English derivative. We'll underline that. 100 measures. And a nikonta, onta is 90, the 9 years. Ke agenese ton kainan. Verse 10, Ke ezisen enos meta togenise afton ton kainan pentakaidaka. Penta is 5, a pentagram, five pointed star. K is an, deca, a decade, is 10, so it's 15, the 2. Put an underline there for that. Eti. K eptacosia, there's the epta, 7, and the osia is 100. K agenesen, eus ke thigateres. 5:11. Ke agenon to passe e imere enos. Pente eti ke anacosia, ke apethene. It came to pass all the days of Enos, pente, 5, we had that before, years, and anacosia is 100, 900, and he died. Verse 12, Ke ezise kainan ebdomikonta, ke ekaton eti, ke egenise ton malelio. And Cainan lived Ebdomi 7 in the onta t, and ekaton 100, hectare is a gun derivative eti. Ke eganis, and he procreated Malaleel. Verse 13, Ke ezise Cainan meta togenise afton ton Malaleel tesseraconta ke eptacosia eti. And Canaan lived after his procreating Mahalaleel, Tessera 4t, and Epta 7, osia 100 years. Ke agenisen eus ke thigateres, the daughters again. 14, Ke agenonto passe e imere Cainan deca eti, ke anacosia, ke apethene. It came to pass, we have all the days of Canaan, Deca is 10 years, and Enna is 9, Osea 100, and he died. Ke ezise Malalael, Pente ke exikonta, ke ekaton eti, ke agenese ton iared. And Mahalalel lived 65, x 6 hexagon, exikonta, onta would be the T, and 100 years, and he procreated Jared. Ke ezise Malalael, metato genise afton ton iared, eti triakonta ke eptakosia. And Mahalalel lived after his procreating Jared, what? Eti tria 30 and epta 700. Ke agenesen ius ke thigateres. Verse 17. Ke agenonto pase e imere Malalael, eti pente ke enanikonta, ke octacosia, ke apethene, and came to pass all the days of Mahalalel, years, pente 5, the pentagon, and enanikonta, onta being the T, 9, and octacosia, octa is 8, octagon. Ke apethan, and he died. Ke ezisen iared, theo, ke exikonta eti ke ekaton, ke agenise ton Enoch. And Jared lived 2, theo, duodecimal, 2, and ex ikonta, they're x, 6, hexagon, and onta, eti ke ekaton, hectare, again the 100, hectare be the derivative, ke agenise ton Enoch. Ke ezisen iared meta to genise afton ton Enoch, octacosia eti ke agenisen ius ke thigateres. And Jared lived after his procreating Enoch 800 years, and he procreated sons and daughters. 520, Ke agenonto pase e imere, and came to pass all the days, iared, theo ke exikonta ke anacosia eti, 2, theo, and exikonta 60 and 900 years, ke apethene. Ke ezisen Enoch, pente ke exikonta ke ekaton eti, ke agenese ton Methuselah. And now it turns in something into one of the more interesting stories of the Bible. In verse 22, Eviretstise they Enoch to Theo. And Enoch was well pleasing to God. And that we could say the same thing to us, and that God would see that in us. And what happened? Ke ezisen Enoch meta to genise afton ton Methuselah theacosia eti. And Enoch lived after his procreating Methuselah 200 years. Ke agenisen ius ke thigateres. And then 23. Ke agenonto pase e imere Enoch pente ke exikonta ke triacosia eti. So all the days were pente 5 and 60 and 300 years. Verse 14, Ke evri stisen Enoch to Theo. Again, and Enoch was well pleasing to God. Ke uk evrisketo, and he was not found. Eureka, to find, and he was not found. And for oti metekesen afton o theos, and for God transposed him. It mentions in Hebrews 11:5, it says, by belief Enoch was transposed to not know death, and was not found, because God transposed him. For before his transposition he bore witness to have been well-pleasing to God, which it says. He was well-pleasing, and God transposed him. I know in the 2 Thessalonians it mentions being snatched away to meet the Lord in the air. And in a way, this was something, I'm not exactly know how God took Enoch, but he was well-pleasing. And that if God does, when he does take us away, that we would be found in the state of being well-pleasing to him, either in death or however it may be. In verse 25, it continues, Ke ezise Methuselah epta ke ogdoi konta. Don't have the accent here, sorry. Ke ekaton, ke egenese ton Lamech. And Methuselah lived epta 7 and ogdoi 80, konta ekaton 100 years, and he procreated Lamech. Ke ezise Methuselah metatogenise afton ton Lamech. Dio ke ogdoi konta, ke eptakosia eti, ke agenisen ius ke thigateres. And Methuselah lived after his procreating Lamech 280 and 700 years, and he procreated sons and daughters. Verse 27, Ke agenon to pase e imeri Methuselah, as ezisen, enea ke exikonta, and all came to pass all the days of Methuselah, which he lived 69, ke ena kosia etian 900 years, ke apethene. Verse 28, Ke ezise Lamech, okto ke ogdoi konta, ke ekaton eti, ke eganisen Eon, and Lamech lived 80 and 100 years, and he procreated a son. In verse 29, Ke eponomase toonoma aftu Noe legon utos dia na pavsi imas apo ton ergon imon. And he named his name Noah, saying, this one will rest us from our works. Ergonomics, understand like that. Ke apo ton lipon ton hiron imon, and from the distresses of our hands. Ke apotis gis is katirasato kyrios o theos. And I'm not exactly sure if he may have gotten this wrong, because they were only rested for 40 days, I believe, when they were the period they were in the ark, and then they were rescued, taken away, more or less, just as Enoch was taken away, and others have been taken away from the earth until we know the flood receded. And he's thinking that this maybe is going to be the deliverer of the world, maybe, and but it wasn't Noah. It would come much, much later. And the distresses of our hands, and from the earth which the Lord God cursed. And so Noah was now born. In verse 30, Ke ezise Lamech metati genise avton ton Noah pente kosia ke exikonta ke pente eti. Ke agenisen eos ke thigateres. And Lamech lived after his procreating Noah 565 years, and he procreated sons and daughters. Verse 31, Ke agenon topase e imeri Lamech, eptakosia ke penti konta tria eti ke apethene. And it came to pass all the days of Lamech 700 eptakosia ke pentikonta tria 3 years, and he died. In 32, Ke in Noe eton pentakosion, ke agenise tris ius ton sim ton ham ke ton Iapheth. And Noah was 500 years old, and he procreated Tris, 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Next chapter we'll be going into the story of Noah and the flood. Hope you'll join us. God bless.